אודיולוגיה. אני צריכה
מצוין.
סיגרתי הוט?
מה?
אני צריכה להיות פה.
עוד לא, רגע, שנייה. עכשיו, הנה עכשיו את הוסט. מצוין, אז אם יש משהו, אני זמין. יופי. נתראה, שיהיה בהצלחה. ביי ביי.
Quando eu virei bem,
How are you? Barely hear you. Don't know if you're speaking, we're not hearing.
Hello.
I'm not hearing.
Hello.
Hi, Crystal.
Hi.
I'm not hearing Aura.
No, Aura, we can't hear you. Wait, it came in a little bit. No?
What microphone do you have active?
No, it's the same. I'm trying. And now?
Yeah.
Now it's better?
Yeah.
Better? Yes.
Hi, so I wanted to call, hi Debbie. Debbie is my English tutor. Now I can say that.
Aura, I don't know if you're talking to us, but it's not coming through.
Oh, the thing happened.
Crashed.
The crash we heard, yes.
Now? Now is okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
but your video's unstable.
Okay. Now the
There.
That's better.
okay. So Debbie, where? Oh, I think I don't know what happened, but there are some problems in my connections. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yofi. Shalom, Yofi.
Hi.
And the camera. Shalom, Dini.
Hi, Ora.
Hi. Oh, okay. So as usual, we will wait 3-4 minutes. Maybe I know that many participants will not join today. All kinds of reasons, but oh. Sorry. Emma, I don't know why, but we can see your share. Oh, yeah. So anyway, today it's just not. How are you? How is your week? Waiting
شو تنفس عشان
little bit stronger than usual. It's cold. It's totally.
אורה, צריך לשפר את השמיעה.
כן, אני לא בטוח אם זה שלה או של מישהו אחר, אולי לעשות
יכול להיות,
מיוט,
כן.
תעשי מיוט
תעשי מיוט
לכולם
לכולם.
שנייה.
בדיוק.
We're not hearing you, Ora.
No, you can
Now a little. But there's something that sounds like background noise from someone, so maybe everyone else can mute for a moment.
Please mute yourself. ועכשיו אתם שומעים? עכשיו כן?
I'm still hearing that background, whatever it is.
היום. Okay, so Emma, can you please mute yourself? הנה. Okay, so maybe I think we will start because I'm not sure that we'll have.
Can I throw in one commercial plug? Just you asked about the week, so the exciting thing in our household this week was that we subscribed to the high-speed fiber internet, and anybody who has access to it in your neighborhood, I suggest it. There are two companies in Haifa that are wiring different areas. We have unlimited here, and Bezek does some areas. So if you see them working on putting up these new cables outside, find out about.
Because this week we were talking inside the people in the building. We were talking about it, and yeah, we saw people from Bezek who were connected, and so our internet is works quite well. So I'm afraid, not to touch it because But if you say it's like moving from a horse and a wagon to a car,
Well, especially if you have Bezek in your neighborhood, that's the faster one. What do you have now? Do you have Bezek regular or hot or
you mean the
yeah,
the
the Tashdit?
tashtit? I have well in our house it's kvalim.
From hot.
From
Okay,
hot.
so you may have a somewhat high speed, maybe 500 or something. I don't know if you know, but the Bezek fiber goes up to 2,500 megabits per second. It's extremely fast, but you may not, depending on what you're doing, you may not notice a difference for your usage. But if you ever wait for anything to load or anything like that, that will go away.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for.
I'll stop.
So it's better, much better, and yeah, I see. Okay. So I think we can start. So we welcome Debbie, my new friend and English tutor. Debbie, Yossi is my husband, who so okay, so I'll share the screen as usual. So well, today we are I think we will finish the second half of chapter 25 in Leviticus. And I really think, well, I hope it will be interesting. The chapter itself, only to read it, is quite interesting. So okay, let me share the screen. Okay, so can you see it? No, you do this.
Yes.
Okay, Yofi. Okay, so we will start here. We read these verses, but we didn't quite discuss it. So we will read it again. And okay, so Gershon, would you like to start? Debbie, I just say to Debbie, what we are doing is we read a few verses as according to what I have prepared, and then we discuss it. And it's really, if anyone wants to comment or ask something, or it's a really free discussion, and that's it. And if we don't finish all the chapter, that okay, we can always do it in the next. And it's not that we have any, we have a bagrut to do or something like that, an exam. Okay, so Gershon, please.
Okay, so I'll read from my translation here, verse 11. Yes, until where? Ora, where do you want me to read to?
Okay, 11 until 17.
Okay. That 50th year shall be a jubilee for you. You shall not sow, neither shall you reap the aftergrowth or harvest the untrimmed vines, for it is a jubilee. It shall be holy to you. You may only eat the growth direct from the field. In this year of jubilee, each of you shall return to his holding. When you sell property to your neighbor or buy any from your neighbor, you shall not wrong one another. In buying from your neighbor, you shall deduct only for the number of years since the Jubilee. And in selling to you, he shall charge you only for the remaining crop years. The more such years, the higher the price you pay. The fewer such years, the lower the price. For what he is selling you is a number of harvests. Do not wrong one another, but fear your God, for I, the Lord, am your God.
Well, thank you.
So,
yeah. So this is the start of the laws for the Jubilee year. Now, so actually, what we can understand from this is, first of all, it is a Shemitah, a year that you don't have to, you must not work the land, right? We read the Shemitah before that. Just a minute, just to you know what? Gershom, just read one or two verses only to remind us. Ine, can you read 3 and 4?
3 and 4. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the produce thereof. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of solemn rest for the land, a Sabbath unto the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard.
Yeah.
So if I may just ask, so what you're saying is basically you have a Shemitah year, and then the year after is the Jubilee year. So there are really 2 years that you're not working it?
Exactly. So if we talked last week that there is a problem, a financial, can be a financial problem for the owner of the land in the Shemitah, in the 7th year, here we have a double problem because it's two in the year, the 49th year, and then 50th year. It's a big quite a problem. And but this is the law. Now the sages and many after them took great they thought a lot about this problem, either about this problem and how to count the 50th year. I mean, either the 50th year is actually the 49th, or the 50th year is actually what we said, and then we have 2 years in a row that are actually two Shemitah, 2 years of Shemitah, Sabbaton, or the Jubilee year. This is a third possibility, is the first Shabbat year, Shabbaton year of the next 50 years. Now, if I can, I will try to explain myself again. If you have, you get to the 49th year, and then the 50 years is not Jubilee year, but only the 56th year or 57. Okay, so it's like only to avoid the situation of 2 years in a row of Shabbaton, of solemn rest. But it's only commentary and what we see from the text. It's the 49th is the Shemitah, and 50 right after that is the Jubilee year. So let's go on with this possibility, okay? Now, and because of that, so first of all, it's the laws for not to work the land, okay, in the Jubilee year. And also, and because it is holy unto you, and see another law for the Jubilee year, and this is an additional law over the Shabbaton year, the 7th year. This law says you will go back each to your land, to his possession. It means that it's like we are doing reset. It's a very nice, I think it's a nice idea. You, for example, you sold your land to someone because you had financial problems or anything like that. For example, if you sold the land in the 10th year, you will wait 40 years, but then, 40 years, but then your land will get back to you. You will receive it. You will receive it back. It's like a reset. It's like a reset. Why do you think that there is this law? That this law was determined? Why it is? We talked last week about that all this the Shabbaton, the 7th year, and the Jubilee year are for social to reduce the differences between people, not to have very, very rich people and very, very poor people, not to have this, to eliminate. So, and we said it's a bit not fair to the owner of the land that he should not work and he should not earn money, actually, and it might be problematic. So what do you think about this Jubilee law?
Well, it's interesting what it turns a purchase into. You're buying a usage rather than ownership of something. It's as if you went to a car dealer and said, I'm going to drive a total of 100,000 kilometers on this car. Here's how much money I'll give you for it. More like a lease than a purchase.
Leasing, exactly. It's really like a leasing. It's a lease and not a proper sale.
But
yeah.
what's strange about it, though, is so how does someone ever own something? I mean, the person you're buying it from, they at some point got it from someone else. So
Okay.
it's almost as if no one can ever own it.
Only the original owners, because
You're talking about Adam and Eve.
no, but okay, so very not to own anything. What you're saying is not to own anything. So what does okay, you know what, we have this, maybe we will get back to this point, because there is two beautiful verses in this chapter about this, not to own, and no one can own anything actually. Apart, I mean, the Lana Yadeh, apart from houses that houses you can be the owner. Let's go back to this question, okay? To this comment. But look what he said here. Okay, so you will go back to it. Oh, I think I was mistaken, The 13 is, well, it's verse number 13 talks about going back to his possession, not the land but the slave. But we have also the law for the land. I mean, if I am a slave, if someone is a slave for anyone, he will go free in this. Okay. Let's go back to this question. But so there are 3 laws in the Jubilee year. Okay, one is like a solemn rest of the Shemitah, not to work the land. 2 is return all the possessions, the land to the former owner. And 3 is the liberation of all slaves. Now, we are talking about laws that are valid in the country, in Israel, in the land of Israel. So if I have slaves, Hebraic slaves, they will be free. But also if I own, it's not exactly ownership, but if I own a slave who is not Hebraic, this he will also go, I think he will also go free because it's in Israel. What I wanted to emphasize here is this number. Look at number 15 to 17. Okay, what do we have here? For example, if I sell to you, I don't know, we are in the 45 year, and we have still 5 year or 4 year, depending how you count, until the Jubilee year. How much the land cost?
The price of the land is dependent. What is the
How many?
how many years you have to the till the Jubilee?
Jubilee year, video.
Yes,
You see, it's a very practical law.
yes, but it's very. I think it's very hard to evaluate this.
Yeah, but still, you have to think about it. It's not obvious that a land that is now we have 49 years until the next Jubilee is not the same price, will not be at the same price as a land few years before or 2 years before. So the price, okay, so how do they evaluate? Look at number 16.
So obviously, the number of years that are available to be, the land is available to be farmed and to produce crops. Yes.
Exactly. So the number, you count the number of crops those he shall unto thee. You see, you count the year according the years according to the number of crops you can produce. And then maybe you have a famine or things like that, but this is not considered. Just it's like five crops you have until this is the evaluation. And look at number 17. We had this verse, even this wording. And you shall not wrong one another, but you shalt fear thy God. What does this mean here? I mean, he said we shall not don't deceive or don't cheat, right? Don't cheat one another. But and then it says you shall fear thy God. Why it comes together? We had this few chapters ago. You remember why it comes together? That don't cheat one another. You have to fear God. What is the connection between God? We are talking about not cheating one another.
But typically, you wouldn't cheat someone because you'd be afraid of what they do to you. But it's don't be afraid of what that person will do to you. God will settle it.
Yeah. For example, okay, you will cheat someone if you will be afraid of what he will do to you, but if you can cheat him in a way that he will never find out that you cheated and you will earn more money, right? So here, I think this verse talks about this situation that you can cheat others, but don't do it because the God is looking and he will know. He knows all the time when you are cheating. It's not like other people that don't know when either you cheat them or not. He will know it, and then you have to fear. So it's like we had this in. Don't be cruel to your slaves. Don't be cruel because your slave maybe cannot do anything about it if you will be cruel to him. But God see it, and it's not that nobody is looking. It's the big brother is looking, watching. Okay, so this is also a social and social perspective of this issue. Okay, Crystal, can you read 18 to 23?
Okay. Wherefore ye shall do my statutes and keep mine ordinances and do them, and ye shall dwell in the land in safety. And the land shall yield her fruit, and ye shall eat until ye have enough, and dwell therein in safety. And if you shall say, what shall we eat the 7th year? Behold, we may not sow nor gather in our increase. Then I will command my blessings upon you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth produce for the 3 years. And ye shall sow the 8th year, and eat of the produce, the old store, until the 9th year, until her produce come in. Ye shall eat the old store. And the land shall not be sold in perpetuity, for the land is mine, for you are strangers and settlers with me.
Okay, thank you. So, Gershom, I think you have here an answer for your question.
So the original owner is God.
Is what?
God.
Exactly. The original owner is God. So we are not Bale Bait here. We are not the owner. We are only, we lease the land, or I think, yeah, it's like leasing. It's sort of leasing the land. And at some point in the future, we will give it back. Yeah, and I think this comes to to avoid the situation of having a very, very rich people, like in like tycoon that are getting richer and richer and richer, and actually they have everything, and other people just go down and down and down, and they can never go back, because the differences between the differences between rich and poor people only get bigger. As we know, we have it here, we have it in the States, so maybe it's a kind of, we said it's not an optimum situation, but maybe it's less worse than worse situation. Yeah, so gerim ותושבים אתם עמדי, גר ותושב, it's stranger and settler. So ger ותושב, it's a common expression in the Bible of someone who doesn't have his own land, but he works for another owner. It's like you are, don't forget, you are not the real owner of the land. That's what it says here. Okay, so why? So we have here a special solution about the what we talked before, about the fact that we have the year Shemitah, the 7th year, and then the Jubilee year, one after another, which will be very hard in the financial view. We have the solution of the 6th year. You see, look at 21. Then I will command my blessing upon you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth produce for the 3 years. Okay, so they talked about 3 years. What 3 years? I think it's the 6th year itself, and then the Shemitah, and then the Yovel, the Jubilee year. Now we have also all kind of commentaries about that. Either this, what I said just now, Rashi says it's not really a full 3 years, but it's the second half of the 6th year, and then the 7th year, the Shemitah, and then the first half of the Jubilee year, or something like that. So it's, but the way it's
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aura, so I'm wondering, it reads to me, and maybe you can correct me if you disagree, it reads to me that in fact, if it's for 3 years, that means that you have the Shemitah, the Jubilee year, and the beginning of the next year, because the next year you can plant, but you don't have no crops for a year. And so that covers that. And it actually says something about here, when you sow in the 8th year, you'll be still eating old grain of that crop. You'll be eating the old until the 9th year, until its crops comes in. So
Yeah.
you have to be covering that year that's already a year of planting, and because you won't have produce for a while during that year.
Yeah. So this is why.
I don't know. I'm asking. I'm wondering.
No, you're absolutely right. This is why the commentaries are. Some of them say it is the 7th year, the Jubilee year, and then the 8th year, because you will only sow you will not get crop right in the beginning. And Rashi says no, it's not really full 3 years. It's half and 1.5, something like that. But yeah, I think you are right. Yeah. I think this is the 8th year is the first year of the next Jubilee, right? The next 50 years, right? Nachon? The 8th year. Actually, this is what it's not so clear. This is why we have all kind of commentaries about it, because the 8th year, why it is called 8, I could understand that it is the Jubilee year because it comes after 7 years. So either way, you can understand it. Either the 8th year of that is actually the first year of the 7 new year. Okay, and anyway, we don't do it anymore. We don't do it. We have all kinds of, we talked about it, Yossi and me, last week. We have all kinds of solutions not to do it, even though we are living here and we have to do it according to the Torah. What solutions? For example, we sell it. I don't know really, but Yossi, we sell it to a goy or something like that.
Yes. There is a term mechira. It's called in Hebrew. A term mechira. You can sell it to a goy or not a Jew, and then the land is the owner is not a Jew, so you can to grow on the land.
Yeah.
This is a term mechira.
And if this person who is not a Jew will say, no, not now, it's mine.
Yeah.
Which I find very upsetting, since it defeats the whole purpose of what it's doing in terms of resting the land.
Exactly, in terms of resting the land, and also in terms of not.
This is one solution, or in the other solution, there are מצה מנותק. I don't know how to call it in
well, yeah, it's very modern.
English.
מצה מנותק is you don't work the land, you work the crops that you work them, you grow them, not on top, not on the land itself, but on
a plastic tunnels or something.
Yeah, all kind of solutions that are not the land. For example, yeah, matzah is medium, so detached media, detached, like you know, you go to like more tzitzim, atzitz. You have for example, the plant you have behind you, Gershom. It's behind you. You have a plant. It's in a pot, right? A pot, in a professional language, we can say matzah menutak, which is not in the land itself, but
Not connected. Yeah.
Not connected to the land itself. Yeah. So we have.
But where does the soil that's in the pot come from is the question.
Yeah.
Be quiet. I know.
Yeah, it's a difficult law, but look what we have now. We have few very rich people, and many others who are struggling. And others who are really poor. And I think this is what we this comes to solving.
But of course, our economy now isn't all dependent on working the land. So
exactly.
It's hard to
This is another
insist.
Yeah, but you know what? I want to say something, that is interesting when you drive in the Jerusalem Tel Aviv highway going towards Jerusalem from Tel Aviv, just before Latrun, there are big fields on either side of the road. On the right side of the road, 7 years ago, they had a big sign saying, "We observe Shemitah," and the land was nothing planted on that part of the land. It's just interesting. And other people around them in other parts of that large field had planted things, but someone who had that part of land observed Shemitah. So it's just whatever. It's just interesting.
Shemitah, I know that in Israel today they do keep it, the Shemitah, but not the Jubilee. Not the Jubilee. Okay? Or
Even so, not everyone could observe the Shemitah. It's just only people who decide to, and the people who are Chilunim, and most of the kibbutzim and moshavim are people who are Chilunim. Not everyone, but a lot of them are. So.
And also, if you can see in the supermarkets fruits and I mean, if I'm very religious and I want to keep Shemitah, I won't eat from fruits and vegetables that were grown in the year of Shemitah. So it says not from Shemitah. I don't remember exactly the how it says, but.
Or there is some places in Israel that now they are not belong to the antique Israel, like Arava. Some places in Arava, you can go even in Shnat Shmita, because this is not the land of Israel. Of the yes, in the South Arava, the Haredim bought from them in Shnat Shmita.
Why it's not considered as the land of Israel?
Yes, there is like Akko also, Akko and the north of Akko, it's not belong to the to Israel, the antique Israel. So you can both from them from North Akko or South Arava.
I will try to read about it because I never heard. Okay, I know that. Well, in Numbers, our next book, Numbers, we will have the very, very interesting topic of the distributions of the land to the different tribes, to the 12. It's not 12, but never mind. To the 12 tribes. The split. It's not the distribution. It's חלוקה של הארץ. דבי, את זוכרת איך אומרים חלוקה?
Divided.
The split.
Not divided.
In unmuted.
Distribution.
Yeah, or the distribution or the division.
So it is distribution. Okay. So the distribution of the. Anyway, you know what? I will try to read about it and bring something next time.
Oh, if you remember when you sometimes I don't know, don't remember when it was when you put the 3 tribes in the land. It's in the north. There is no tribes.
You have Menashe. You have
not in the north, in the south.
In the south. In the south, yeah, you're right. In the south, yeah, Yehuda and Yemin and Shimon are in the south, if I remember correctly.
But not in the Arava.
Not in the very.
In the Negev or Arava.
The far south.
And
yeah.
It's also in the north. There's some places that they are not belong to Israel, to land of Israel.
Okay, well, let's. I will try to bring something about it for next time.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is bothering me because if the land goes back to the original owner in the 50th year, and that being God, in the 51st year, how do they determine who gets what land?
Now, I think what I understand here is, for example, you sold me your land, and then we have the Jubilee, and I have to give it to you back. Okay, so you are now the new owner, but you are not a real owner. You have the land. You can sell it again every 50 years, or you can give it to your children. You can give it to anyone you want, or you can sell it again. This is the whole point. And if as I gave you your land back, but I get maybe my ancient land that I had 50 years ago, so I get it back also. So you are the new owner, but you have to understand that you are not a real owner. You have it for 50 years. That's it.
Yeah. But I think Crystal is saying that the land belongs to God. It doesn't belong to anybody. So who gets whose land is it really? And I'm just thinking that it just the land was distributed to the different tribes and divided among the tribes when they came into the land, and therefore that's whose land it is. Isn't it? I mean, that makes sense. Otherwise, how would one know?
It's not that you can, well, normally I think in the day-to-day life, you don't think about, oh, I'm not the owner of the land, I have to give it, the land is God's land and all that. It's not something that you think about it every day, but you can beat, you can grow crops on it, you can sell it, buy it, and everything. But just remember, it's kind of an idea. Just remember not to think that everything you own. A little bit of humble. You see, you are not going to be richer and richer and richer by collecting more and more land, because you will. It's like in Monopoly. You end the game and that's it. You're not. You don't. It's like kind of when I read it. This is what to remind.
Yeah, but you're not answering my question.
Okay.
What happens in the 51st year? The 51st year, what happens to the land? Who knows what land to have?
Can you give me an example?
Okay, I own a piece of property. It's the 50th year. It goes back to God. In the 51st year, can I take it back, or does someone else have a right to take it?
The fact that it belongs to God, it means, well, you can't sell it to God, right? It's not that God will buy it. Okay, God is, let's say God is in the sky, okay? But you bought this land for someone, right? Let's say 20 years ago, you bought this land. So it goes back to him. Okay.
Yeah, but that's not it going back to God. It's going back to a certain person.
Yes.
Yeah, you're taking it too literally, Crystal. It's not that God takes possession of all the land. It's that whenever, let's take a guess that it applies to basically whoever owned it when this policy came into effect. And therefore, if they've sold it to someone, it comes back to them, or if they have left it to their children, so on and so on. But to remember that we don't really own anything, that it's all God's and we're all borrowing it. But this is just distribution among men.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what we're saying.
It is only between people. Let's say that I got very poor and I had to send my only piece of land that I had. I had to send it, to sell it, because I had to have some money, okay? So I'm selling it to you. Now, in 20 years, in the Jubilee year, you will have to, I will get my land again so I can stand on my feet again. Something like that, okay? But yeah, as Gershom said, it's not that literally. Of course, God is not only remember that God is it's like a virtual side in this business. It's not a real side. Okay.
If I can add one other part to that, remember, if you bought the land from me, you only paid a price relative to how many years you're going to use it. So it was sort of a fair deal. You got the usage that you paid for, and now it's mine again. And if I want to sell it to you again, that's up to me. But
yes,
that I get the option.
Yes, absolutely. And the land is not either. It has a beautiful view on the sea. It is according to how much I can make my living from it. It's not like today. In different neighborhood, you have different prices because of the location and all that. It's how, and also we have, I don't remember exactly where, but we have the distinguish between something that I can make a living from. For example, we will read it later. I can sell my house in the Jubilee year because I don't make a living from a house normally. Okay, we are not talking about renting and all that. I live in my house, so I don't make a living, but we are talking about the possibility of making a living that I think the basic idea here that every person will have his possibility to make a living, to make even a minor living, but to make a living, not to be hasar kol without anything to make a living from. Okay, so only to emphasize, to sum up this is a major and central idea in the Bible. Both the land and the people of Israel belong to God. Nobody owns them apart from God. And we will see it also in verse number 55 in this chapter. Okay, so here, Ginny, would you like to read 24 until, wait a minute. Okay, you know what? Until 31. Just unmute yourself, please.
You're right. Thank you. Yeah. Throughout the land that you hold, you must provide for the redemption of the land. If your brother is in straits and has to sell part of his holding, his nearest redeemer shall come and redeem what his brother has sold. If a man has no one to redeem for him, but prospers and acquires enough to redeem with, he shall compute the years since its sale, refund the difference to the man to whom he sold it, and return to his holding. And if he lacks sufficient funds, means to recover it, what he sold shall remain with the purchaser until the Jubilee. In the Jubilee year, it shall be released, and he shall return to his holding. If the man sells a dwelling house in the walled city, it may be redeemed until a year has elapsed since its sale. The redemption period shall be a year. Oh, okay. If it is not redeemed before a full year has elapsed, the house in the walled city shall pass to the purchaser beyond reclaim throughout the ages. It shall not be released in the Jubilee. Oh. But houses and villages that have no encircling walls should be classed as open country. They may be redeemed and they shall be released throughout the Jubilee.
You know what? Let's continue because it's all talk about the same issue of now it's about the Leviim. Can you continue here?
Till when?
35.
Okay.
No, sorry, to until 38.
38, okay. As for the cities of the Levites, the houses and the cities they hold, the Levites shall forever have the right of redemption. Such property as may be redeemed from the Levites, houses sold in the city they hold, shall be released through the Jubilee, for the houses and the cities of the Levites are their holdings among the Israelites. But the unenclosed land about their cities cannot be sold, for that is their holding for all time. If your brother, being in straits, comes under your authority, and you hold him as though a resident alien, let him live by your side. Do not exact from him advance or accrued interest, but fear your God. Let him live by your side as your brother. Do not lend him money or advance interest, or give him your food at accrued interest. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to give the land of Canaan to be your God.
Thank you. So actually, all these cases, you have the Geulah, the redemption of the land, and you have the Levi'im, and it's all connected to what we talked about. Because we have, for example, if someone will become poor, and he will sell his property, he cannot buy his property because he is poor, but his brother can. Okay, the property should go back to the family, even if his brother. This is the Goel. We have remember where we have a beautiful story about the Goel Adama in Ruth.
Kehilat Moriah.
Kehilat Moriah, yes, we have Boaz is a kinsman of Naomi, and he could, because under the law, there was someone who was a closer relative. He didn't want to marry Ruth, and then Boaz was the next one in the order, and so he could do this redemption. And then, let's see again, 28. Even according to this, even if the brother or someone, what I talk here is, you don't have to wait until the Jubilee year. You can buy it before that. Okay? But if you cannot, you have no kinsmen, you have no close relatives, everyone in the family is poor, in the Jubilee year, it will go back to you. This is the idea here. It's not that, so the idea is always to return the lands to the original owners. But I was asking myself, okay, 50 years is a long time. So if one a land go and change owners a few times, which is the original owner? For example, if I sell to Gershom and Gershom sold it to Crystal and Crystal to Ginny, and who gets the who gets the land?
I think it's according to the division that when the people of Israel set in the land, and there was divisions for families and the tribes, and this is each family has its own place or land.
This is so the minute they get into the land. By the way, I read somewhere that it is since the 14th year of their after going into the land of Israel, after in Joshua time, in the book of Joshua. Okay, so after a while, this is the reset point. Okay, so it's because otherwise, I mean, it's like what I think Gershon said it. So we go back to Adam and Eve. You have to have a reset point of, and this is the reset point, the distribution of the land to the tribes.
And this is a nice story about Tzofchad's daughters.
Yes.
That was, he has just daughters, and they ask Moshe why the land will avoid from us because we are daughters. And
5 daughters. This is in Numbers, and there are a few very beautiful stories in Numbers. There were 5 daughters, no brothers, and their father died. And they, and of course, daughters are not they didn't own. I mean, this was the question. Other people of the other people told them, not, it's not your land because you are women and not men, so it's not your land. So they, איך אומרים, עתרו לבג"ץ. They went to Moses, and Moses said, and they said, but this is our land, this is our father's land. And so what, we are women, this is our land. So Moses said, oh, we didn't think about it. Went to God, and God said, oh, I didn't think about it. Okay, they are right. Go and tell them they can have their land, but they will have to marry a man, I mean, 5 men, from their tribe. This is the pshara, sorry, I forgot the word.
The condition, no?
The condition or the
solution.
You cannot marry anyone, but the land is yours. Yes, and this is and it's a beautiful feministic story about that. It's like Moses and God didn't think about it. How didn't they think about it? Yeah, so we will read it in Numbers.
If I may, just to answer the question you asked about if it's been sold multiple times, how do you know? You go back to the last Jubilee year.
Exactly.
And whomever got it then is who gets it now.
Yeah.
That would be the one.
Right. And it all starts again. And all this changing hands and all that. So these are laws about the Leviim, but actually I really want, we have only 17 minutes, and I really wanted to talk with you about something else. You know what, let's leave the Leviim here. It's a specific law for the Leviim, okay, the Levites, and they don't have land. This is okay. Just in short, they don't have land because they are the Levite. They have to work in the Kodesh, in the holy. They have other jobs and they have to work God. So they don't get land, but they did get a lot of other specific cities of them. So in C34, but the fields of the open land about their cities may not be sold. Yes, because it's a specific law for them. I mean, if we read before that, the lands around the cities can be sold, but here it's of the Levites. It's Achuzat Olam. This is perpetual possession. Okay, and this is also because it protects the Levites, who are supposed to be not to be very rich people, because they don't have lands, because they didn't get lands. I mean, the land is the if someone has a land, he is okay in a financial point of view, and the Levites don't have. So, but according to the Bible, they did get all kinds of places to dwell. Okay, let's go on. And only, this is a beautiful, yeah, I can't skip it. Look at that, it's 36. Do no interest of him or increase, but fear thy God. Don't take advantage of your poor brother, and if you give him money as a loan, don't take interest. Now, who wants to come with me tomorrow to the bank and tell them, I'm a Jew, you are a Jew, I want my, don't give me the interest. Okay.
בהצלחה.
בהצלחה. כן, בדיוק. So, but I think it's beautiful here, really. 36 and 37.
Oh, in those days, the rebate is so low that
It's not
almost not interest.
Yeah, but look, even the word in Hebrew, we don't use this anymore. We say rebit, but the biblical word in Hebrew, neshech, is a hard word because it's like a bite of a dog. It's neshech, it's from the same root of limshok, to bite. And here it's not to loan money. You can give money, you can loan money, but the same. Okay, so look at now. I wanted to talk with you about this. I don't know if we will have time. No, oh, we have another beautiful. Okay, I think we will not finish this chapter today. Okay, anyway, we will not do this. I wanted to talk a little bit about this signature of God. I am the Lord your God who brought you forth out of the land of Egypt. This signature, but I will keep it to the end of the chapter. Let's continue. Debbie, would you like to read? Yeah, 37 to let's see, 46.
Okay. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, and if thy brother be waxen poor with thee, and sell himself unto thee, thou shalt not make him to serve as a bond servant, as a hired servant, and as a settler, he shall be with thee. He shall serve with thee unto the year of Jubilee. Then shall he go out from thee, he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. For they are my servants, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shalt fear thy God. Carry on. And as for thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, whom thou mayest have, of the nations that are round about you, of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them may ye buy, of their families that are with you, which they have begotten into your land, and they may be your possession. And ye may make them an inheritance for your children after you, to hold for a possession, or then may ye take your bondsmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, ye shall not rule one over another with rigor.
Thank you very much. So, of course, this is also, this is the third law of the Jubilee year. And this is about the slaves. Until now, we had the land issue. Now is the slaves issue. Yeah, when I said it before, anyway, it's here in between, in these verses. So if your brother works in poor, in Hebrew, it's if he becomes poor, and he will be sold to you as slave. Well, of course we can't really understand how can someone, I mean, slavery is absolutely wrong and all that. But in the old days, it was everywhere. It was really everywhere. I mean, not only in such old days, and we know that. But in the old days, it's like if someone gave me money because I had some problems and I couldn't give it back, I sold myself as a slave. This is one way to give back my debts. Okay, but here's the thing, that in the Hebraic, actually, they are not real slaves in Israel because they go free in the Jubilee year. It's not for forever and ever. And this is something that wasn't outside of, this is a very new law. Also, of course, a social law. It says here, as a hired servant, he works, but it's like you don't pay him a salary, but his work, this is the salary. This is the money that he owes you. Ad Shnat HaYovel, until the Jubilee year, and he will work, and then he will go back free. And this is the other part of the law, that the lands that God owns the land, but also God owns the people of Israel. So the people of Israel cannot be slaves of slaves. You know what? I want to show you something. In the Talmud, in the Babylonian Talmud, in Kiddushin 22, and not slaves of slaves, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai and Rabbi Shimon. This is the understanding of this verse. And if you read 55, I will read it in Hebrew because I think it's beautiful in Hebrew, and then we will read it in English. Ki li bnei Israel avadim, avadaihem. We are the slaves of God, so no one can be our owner. We cannot be slaves of people. Okay? For unto me, the children of Israel are servants. They are my servants. Now, I don't know why the translation here is servants and not slaves, because in the Hebrew word is avadim, really slaves. Servants, I would say, it's more meshartim or metaplim or something. Do you have any other translation? Gershon, can you see what is written?
Here are also servants.
Servants? Okay.
Yeah, and you're right. You can hire a servant. You don't. They don't have to be enslaved to you.
So in Hebrew, it's mamash the word of avadim, like in Egypt, because in your translation, I assume that in all the story about Egypt and slavery in Egypt, they didn't call it servants, right? In your translation.
I doubt it.
By the way, it's this parasha on Saturday, Parashat Shmot. It's the beginning of the book of Exodus. Okay.
By the way, if I can throw into that same issue of slaves, one thing we haven't mentioned is its life expectancy in olden times. So if you were already adult enough to be useful as a slave, whatever, 15 years old, the chances that you would live to the Jubilee year don't seem very good if that's right after a Jubilee year. I mean, not too many people live, I think, till 60 or 70 years old.
You're right, but still, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you became a slave in the 40th year of the Jubilee cycle, then yeah, you could look forward to freedom. But
you have this hope to be free again. I think that the freedom, the idea of the freedom of people is very, very deep inside the Torah, the laws of the Torah. We talked a little bit about it when we talked about the 10 Commandments, because I have this verse exactly here, because this is what I wanted to. Okay, in the 10 Commandments in Exodus 20, number 2, I am the Lord thy God who brought, it's the beginning of the 10 Commandments, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You should know, okay, but it's, you are now free people, you can choose to be right. This is what but this is another discussion. You can, I think the idea of being free person is very, very crucial and very, very important in the Torah. Okay, let's read. Yeah. So, okay, so I just will say in short, because we are almost out of time, that we have the slavery laws in three places. No, in three places in the Bible, in the Torah, not in the Bible, in the Torah, in Exodus, in Leviticus, and in Deuteronomy. In Shmot, Vaikra, Vedvarim. Now, I think we also have it in Numbers, but I'm not sure about it. I will check. But anyway, there are certain differences between these three places, and you know what? We will not have time to read it all, so I summarized it. Ginny, would you like to read this here? And this will end. Just unmute yourself.
The commentary, Leviticus 25.
Can, yes.
Okay. The slave remained in his slavery until the Jubilee year. Opposite to that, in Deuteronomy and Exodus, the slave is released in the 7th year. In Leviticus, the slave is released in the Jubilee year, whether in 2 years or in 30 years, and returns home. The slave has no option to stay. In Exodus and Deuteronomy, the slave, man or woman, can stay, but their ear will be strapped, and they will belong to their master forever. But this is not found in Leviticus.
Okay, the word stop, I searched for the word ratza, in Hebrew, and it is actually piercing, to be pierced.
Pierced, okay.
Okay. So there are certain, it's not the only difference, but the thing is, for example, if I am a slave, if someone is a slave at some house, and he really likes his honor, his the relationship are good, he treats him good, well, and all that, he wants to stay, and maybe he married a woman there, and they have now children. He wants to stay. He has a work. He has a roof upon his head. So he's in Leviticus. It's he doesn't have this possibility to stay as a slave, but there is the possibility in other places in the Torah. Because, and then the thing with the ear of to Ratzaitos Noladet, he have to pierce his ear. and then he will be a slave forever, for life. Now, why is that? Because this is the sages said that the idea of slavery is not acceptable or not. God doesn't like it. You really want to be okay, but we don't like it. We want you to be a free person. This is the thing, and this is why in Leviticus, for example, it's the possibility is not mentioned at all. Okay, I think we will finish now. And again, I told you this chapter is have a lot of subjects, interesting subjects. So thank you very much. And,
Thank you very much.
Thank
Excellent.
you. Shabbat
Yeah,
shalom.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so
Shabbat
much.
shalom.
Okay, bye.